Hi everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Sunday. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I had a different video scheduled for today, but the audio quality was absolutely fucked. So instead, I'm recording this with a migraine, but I thought it'd be really fun for me to go through what's on my Kindle Unlimited TBR for the month of February, especially because I'm no longer setting monthly TBRs. You'll see some of that in like weekly challenge videos, but for the most part, I'm not setting a monthly TBR. So this is what's on my radar for this month in February and kind of some of the things I'm hoping to get to on Kindle Unlimited. So the most recent book that I've added to my Kindle Unlimited TBR is The Midsummer Bride by Katie Wilde. This is a book I saw on Mara's channel, and in this story we're following a woman who was the queen of her kingdom, except that she was usurped by her evil uncle and cursed to die, and she knows that she is to die, but she received a prophecy when she was younger saying that if she married a barbarian, this barbarian's axe had the ability to kill the king. So even though she knows she's gonna die, she's determined to find this man of this prophecy so that she can free her people, or that he can free her people. Just realized you can see my whole album up here. If you're wondering what that is, it's Taylor. Let me move Taylor over here. So they end up meeting, but he only agrees to help her because she's wearing jewels that were stolen from his people's like goddess. So his plan is to kill her. I don't know anything outside of that, but I am entering my historical romance era, so I'm hopeful that I'm gonna really enjoy it. I'm also reading Bro and the Beast by Elsie Davis. This is a joke one. What I mean is that I saw one of my friends on Discord saying that she was reading this, and it's like, well, that sounds absolutely hilarious. And here's why it sounds absolutely fucking hilarious. Because it is this frat bro who gets into like this argument with his twin brother, and his twin brother loves reading like shifter Omegaverse romances. So to kind of connect with his brother, he reads one of like the Omegaverses, find that he's like pretty into it, but he thinks that they're really stupid just because of how they're plotted. But when he goes out to a party, he gets hit by a car and wakes up and finds himself in the Omegaverse world where he has replaced the main female character, and no one seems to believe that obviously that they're fictional people. And he's a frat bro. He's a 6'2", 220-pound like linebacker of a man, but they all insist that he's a delicate Omega, so it's like very funny and just poking fun at certain things, which I sometimes do enjoy in my books. It's surprisingly getting really good towards the end. Not something I necessarily recommend, but for me it was for the shits and giggles. I also have Whispers of the Deep checked out. This is by Emma Ham. In this story, we are in a version of Earth where people can no longer live like on the surface of the earth. They have to live underwater, and they've managed to get over water pressure and like the need to figure out how to breathe in those conditions. So they have like massive underwater dome cities, and they are enemies for many centuries with these kind of mermaid people who are very like vicious and aggressive towards humans because they don't want humans in the ocean. Humans are very destructive and they have been destroying their home. One day, a very angry merman attacks the city that our main female character lives in, and she ends up saving his life because he becomes trapped. This creates a bond between them, and he decides that he's gonna kidnap her for the sake of getting secrets from humans, but it's a romance and it's like fated mates kind of. What I will tell you is that this romance is hella fucking dark, and our hero is really angry for like obvious reasons, but if you're not gonna like that kind of energy in the story, it's not a story I would recommend to you. I am gonna finish it, but it's a little bit too dark and heavy for what I typically look for in a fantasy or monster romance. Specifically monster romance in this case. I can handle a little bit darker in fantasy. Then I have Taming the Wolves Omegaverse 2. I can never pronounce his name, so apologies now. I think it's Lix Robinson. You're gonna see my thoughts on book 1 in an upcoming video, so I'll keep this brief, but this is book 2 in this series following our heroine, who is an Omega, potentially. I don't fucking know. She has magical scent power that drives men crazy. Her love interest is a Viking, and there's a lot of political intrigue, and that's pretty much all I can tell you. I'm not here to sell you the book, but just know you'll hear my full thoughts on book 1 later on, which will make book 2 make more sense. Bit of a spoiler for an upcoming video, but I am reading historical romances for February. So one of the books that I have checked out is The Spitfire by Christy Caldwell. It is a historical romance about this woman who used to be a courtesan and I think they would call her like a lady of the night. She has been making money for many, many years, and she decides that she's finally going to realize her dreams of opening her own music hall. And our hero is a man in London trying to establish a police force to keep London streets safe. And he ends up falling victim to one of the attacks in the city, and he's rescued by our main female character, Clara. But instead of, like repaying Clara with kindness, I think he tries to shut down her music hall because of what her previous career was. I'm getting like mild enemies to lovers situation here. To be honest with you, I don't know much outside of that, except for the fact that they fall in love, and really that's all I need to know. So you'll see my thoughts in that upcoming reading vlog. I also have Glitch by Brianna Michaels. Now, I saw this on Lacey's channel, and the reason I checked this out was because she put it on her list for like hottest romances. And here's a general summary and premise. This is a gamer romance. So we have our main character, I'm gonna say Aura because Era sounds wrong. So Aura is a gamer, but she's an anonymous gamer. So the only thing people know about her is like her voice when she's streaming, and then she has like a little cartoon icon, and she has one fan who she's really close with, who's just like in all of her chats and like really supportive of her, but she doesn't know that he very much sexualizes her, and obviously she has no idea who he is. They don't know each other. He's obsessed with her, to say the least. They finally meet in person, and he has also been the source of many of her fantasies, and when she meets him, he's not what she's expecting. He's actually much better, and they proceed to fuck, from what I understand. I have a book I undoubtedly saw on TikTok somewhere. First, this cover is beautiful. This is Blood Mercy, which is a fantasy romance by Veil of Raw. It's like a vampire romance where they're trying to prevent a war via like their alliance. So she seeks him out for some kind of protection or alliance. He's obsessed with her. I don't know shit about this book except that it's a slow burn vampire romance. And do I honestly need to know more than that? No. Also, currently checked out for me on Kindle Unlimited is Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. It's following an older couple, so they're both like in their 50s, I think, and they get into D&D. They become like pretty close friends over it, but they both assume that they're younger than what they are. They're just like, oh, it's just like some college kid I'm playing with, and that's totally fine. They end up meeting and realize they're the same age, and I think they enter a relationship. And I picked this up because I really love finding romances that feature like a romantic relationship with an older couple, because a lot of romances, from what I've read, tend to be people in their early 20s to early 30s, and it's really fun for me to pick up a romance featuring a couple who is a little bit in their later years. Of all of the books on my KU TBR for February, I will tell you that the most I'm excited for is Outdrawn, which is an enemies to lovers sapphic romance by Deanna Gray. It's following two artists. One of them is Noah, and Noah has gotten her big break, essentially being an artist for a webcomic. And they're relaunching their well-known comic called Queen Lasaya, and she's very excited to be part of that. And then we have our other character, Sage, who is also an artist who originally created Lasaya. So there is quite some tension because we have the original artist of the story and the artist who is now taking over some aspects of it. And there is tension because Sage, the original artist of the comic, was told that she would retain full creative license, and of course that is not the case. This is also a Black romance, and I'm really excited to read this. I love sapphic romances, and I'm really excited to see the enemies to lover nature of this and how it's going to work in this setting. I have In Your Wildest Dreams. I know I said I would stop picking up TikTok romances, but listen, this one got me. It's by Rebecca Jenshak, and the thing that drew me into this story and what made me want to check it out on Kindle Unlimited is that he's a hockey player, like preparing for a big game. They're doing training, kind of skating around, meeting fans, and when he's skating, he sees this woman who's like being ignored by what he assumes is her boyfriend, but he's like immediately enamored by her, so obsessed with her. So he goes up to the glass screen and he like gives her a puck with his number on it, and that starts everything. But she is in a relationship, but don't worry, there's no cheating, because this story picks up a few years after that initial encounter, where she is now his nurse for an injury he attained. Doesn't that sound really fun? I'm really excited to read this book. I do have one other book checked out, but I've had this book checked out for a long time, and that's Anatomy, a Love Story. I've spoken about this book enough, so I will not be discussing it in this video, but that is everything, y'all. Those are the books that I currently have checked out on Kindle Unlimited and what I'll be working my way through the month of February. There is no world in which I would be able to read every single book that I have checked out on KU. But the beautiful thing is I get to keep those books until I finish them and decide to return them. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you did enjoy this video. The sun is shining hella brightly, so I am going to see you in my next one. I'm going to lay in the dark now. All right, bye.